instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. All right, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter. This guy is Scott McLeod, of course, and you are listening to the Flagstick Podcast presented by Srixon Golf Balls. Whether you're looking for a premium urethane option in the Z-Star series, a quality budget option in soft feel, or somewhere in between with the Q-Star Tour, Srixon Golf is bound to present an option that will work for your game. For more information, visit srixon.ca. I did have the opportunity to play the Diamond for the first time, not last night, the night before. And normally I'm a
Do you like the softer model?
Yeah, well, no, because I played the oh my God,
Z-Star or the
Z-Star
XV?
X, the XV. Sorry,
XV.
My brain is just it's so early morning. Let's just say that it is Open Championship week here, and that means early mornings to watch golf.
Yes.
That means without adequate amounts of caffeination, brain tends to shut down at about this time,
or lack of sleep.
You're already 4 or 5 hours into watching golf by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm usually an XV guy, but I decided to try the Diamond, and I gotta say, I like the Diamond.
What do you like about it?
It's just a different feel. I found it was it's kind of we'll call it the, I don't know, for lack of a better description, it's kind of a little firmer ball.
Yeah.
And I think I like that, especially off the tee.
Cool.
Around the greens, the softer balls are, guys are going to be more prefer the softer ball. But, I'm kind of I'm 53 years old. I like I like that ball to pop a little more and feel a little firmer.
And I think the Diamond became popular with some players too when they had like extra soft milled putters or insert putters and things as well. So it provides a nice combination where they get the feel where they want, kind of around the greens, but like as you said, they get the little extra pop off the tee.
Never even dawned on me about the putting. I did notice the putting, the way it felt on the putter was a little bit different. So maybe that has a lot to do with it too. Well, we'll go with that. Anyway, Srixon.ca, check it out. Obviously, we want you to hit us up on the social media networks. Lots of stuff going on there. Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And of course, we encourage you to subscribe to YouTube channel, like us, click the notification bell, and make sure that you're in tune with what's happening on the tube. Because especially the Flagstick Academy, been up there for a bunch of weeks now and getting a lot of traction.
Yep.
You're missing out if you're not liking and subscribing and clicking the little dingle bell there. Anyway, plenty is happening in golf. Just give me some time to kind of get the blend going here. Plenty happening in golf right now. So we're going to catch you up on some news on the front nine. Of course, that's what we like to do. But on the back nine, we believe that it's time to talk Open because it's happening now and it's getting real. It is getting real. At Royal Troon. And I love Royal Troon, one of those true tests of links golf that if you're a fan of links golf, there's a bunch of courses in Scotland and across the UK that really do personify what links golf is all about, and Royal Troon happens to be one of them. So we want to get to that. So let's get to this. The front nine, presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is here, so don't wait. Get on the wait list for memberships for next year and leagues because they sell out quickly. Purchase some game passes to get your season going, saving some money compared to regular green fees. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now. Okay, let's get it started with the flagstick.com Cobra Puma Golf Shootout that just took place at Smuggler's Glen Golf Course this past weekend. Now, we had mentioned when we started talking about the flagstick.com shootout that we were changing the format just a tad. And I think we just we just have a hard time getting the message out as to what it is that this was supposed to be this year. So the field was a little smaller than we wanted, but we're going to build on that. We're going to change some things up again for next year. Yes, extremely high quality field. And we ran 2 divisions and 1 overall. So basically an A and a B. It's kind of like any tournament where you have an A, B, C, D flight kind of deal. We did 2 divisions, A and B, similar to the Flagstick Open where we do 4 divisions. This was 2 divisions. And that allowed us to expand sort of the indexes and really make it competitive for everybody in the field, not just the top of the field. But we did end up with a really, really good tournament, a really good grouping, and a very competitive divisions. Everybody eligible for the overall, same set of tees for everybody this weekend. And weather was spectacular. Aside from warm and humid, it was hot and humid, and there's no doubt about that. But man, we'll take that over pouring rain sideways and thunderstorms and everything else. We had great weather both days. Fantastic. Caden Holmes is this year's Flagstick.com Cobra Puma Golf Shootout winner with a 67 in the final round. And that wasn't even like that would have been the best score of the final round. But that certainly wasn't the
hottest round.
The hottest round by far is to be Josh Marcotte.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 6 birdies on the back 9, but unfortunately he took an 8 on the last. But ultimate in psycho scorecards, if you look at it, he shot 1 under on the back. So 1 under for the day with 9 birdies. 9 birdies.
It was insane. And it was just like watching, like when he started the back 9, it was like birdie, 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 birdie. I get a text from someone out on the golf course saying, I'm watching some of the most insane golf I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, when you got you got people firing texts in the middle of the round, letting the organizers know that someone's having a hot round. It's you got something special going on there. And unfortunately, it didn't finish the way he wanted to finish it. But you know what? At the end of the day, he had a game plan. He said to you on the first tee, he's going to birdie every hole.
Yeah.
Now he didn't do that on the front 9, but he certainly started to do that on the back 9. And he just continued his aggressive style of play right through, and it cost him on 18. It cost him likely the tournament. At least it cost him a playoff spot. And I mean, that's unfortunately the way it goes sometimes. That be golf, my friend. That be golf. You choose how you want to play, and you deal with the beauty of it, and you deal with the ugly of it. And that was the ugly of it on 18, but it was the beauty of it leading into it.
Yeah, unfortunately, he ended up going triple bogey at the end to drop down there. But yeah, it was a heck of a round and a heck of a run. Caden Holmes had no idea really. He wasn't even really watching the board, and he was behind the green when someone told him that at that point that he was tied because Josh was in the fairway at that point and looking good to kind of get it in the house and grab the trophy. And Josh plays out of Carleton. We should mention that. Caden plays out of Napanee and is an incoming senior at Northwestern Oklahoma State. So like I said, good players, good quality players that were in the field. Another collegiate player had the lead after the first day. Another 67 that was at Hayden Underhill, and he backed up a little bit there too. And that was it. It was up and downs, and that's the kind of the golf course it is at Smugglers. There's opportunities there, but there's also opportunities for as much success as disasters as well. You can make lots of birdies, lots of eagles out there, but you can also make some big numbers as well, which makes it fun. And that volatility really plays into the tournament for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about Smugglers Glen that we really like for this tournament is the fact that not only is it an outstanding golf course, beautiful views and so on down in the Gananoque area and the Thousand Islands, but what the golf course is built to deliver and the way we set the golf course up for the purposes not only of challenging the players but of encouraging scoring should you so choose to play that style of golf. The birdies were there for the taking. We set the course up especially to encourage scoring.
Yeah, that's why
the problem is we don't control what happens off the tee. And that's where a lot of the issues that smugglers really get the players is that those tee shots and the fact that not every lie in the fairway is a flat lie, as you can get on a lot of golf courses. It really does challenge your decision making and your shot making. And if you play it simple, you could probably, a good player can shoot even par pretty easily out there. But if you start trying to make birdies and trying to be aggressive, smugs can get you.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said, that's why we call it the shootout, because we want to have that shootout there. And we've really had that over the years, and that's going to be the continued theme, just to provide opportunities, not setting up a golf course to lay down, but just to have some opportunities that, you know, if you are skillful and make the right choices, you can make birdies.
Jared Coyle took the A division title.
Yep.
Great round of golf on Sunday to kind of get him into that spot. And Jackson Murphy won the B division title, which is outstanding.
16-year-old.
Yeah, and he also won the Saturday night shootout, which is another feature of the Flagstick shoot at flagstick.com Cobra Puma shootout that we've always had, is having that little par 3 competition, play down style, you know, single elimination kind of deal that we do on the Saturday night after the round is over. We took the top 4 from each division, played them off 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and so on until we got to a champion. And it was Jackson Murphy that won that Saturday night shootout. So that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. He won the Puma pop top speaker.
Did you just say pop tart? Don't say pop tart.
Pop top. We took it out to 2 this year just because there was some play on the golf course. We usually traditionally play it off the 10th tee, but 2 was fun. It worked out well. There's a little bit of wind out there. Played off a more forward tee. I think it was playing probably playing 120. It was actually 110 or 108 or something to the hole. But yeah, it was fun. Lots of close shots. Lots of ones spinning off the green, and it was a fun competition for sure.
Cool. All right. So that was a wrap on this year's flagstick.com Cobra Puma Golf Shootout. Next year, the hope is that we can really fill up that field. It's a smaller field, but it's not a limited field. So let's get that straight for those looking at it next year. It's going to be wide open next year. And there will be multiple divisions and.
Yeah, and obviously thanks to the sponsor there as far as the title sponsor in Cobra Puma, but also Gananoque Chev as well. And the local sponsor had some cool vehicles sitting out there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. The electric
Hummer was insane.
The electric Hummer certainly got a lot of attention. The $184,000 electric Hummer, but yeah.
It's pretty reasonable when you think about it. That's not an outrageous price for an electric Hummer. That thing was a beast.
It was a cool vehicle for sure. So, yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
Let's get into the intersectionals. OVGA intersectionals. Obviously, the men's intersectionals had already happened, and this past Sunday was the OVGA intersectional. The women's intersectionals took place July 14th, and as always, we're not going to run down all the divisions because there's too many, but we'll specifically focus on the Division A. Division A was hosted this year by Rivermead and Royal Ottawa. Boom. Took the win. 3 points, only 3. It was really tight.
Close battle.
Highlands was a little bit further back at the end of the day, and we'll drop down to B next year. But Royal Ottawa, 27 points. Ottawa Hunt, 24 points. And host Rivermead, 22 points. That's not much.
No, that's
a couple matches swing here and there, and the next thing you know, you've got someone else winning that. So
yeah, and these results started coming in just as we started wrapping up the shootout.
Yeah, I know.
So it was a long day.
Yes, because all that stuff's got to get posted and it all comes in fast and furious. And
it sure does. Still waiting on a couple divisions there, but otherwise everything is up at flagstick.com. So
exactly. So there we go. So so like you said, the rest of the results all up at flagstick.com. You can check that out. Ottawa City and District Championships. Talk about the tournament that got the weather. We got the great weather on the weekend.
Yeah,
the Ottawa Valley City and District Championships, it's kicked off at Carleton Golf and Yacht Club on, or as some players in the Flagstick shootout refer to it as something completely different. We're not sure what golf course that was, but the weather was not.
No,
it was not friendly. That's for sure.
Yeah, they struggled at Carlton to get some golf in there, and same thing happened as well the next day at Brockville, and as a result, in the end, so the women's A and B and the men's B were playing on the Monday and Tuesday, and then the men's A plays 3 rounds, or scheduled to play 3 rounds, 54, and that would carry over to Rideau on Wednesday, but for the women's A and B and the men's B, the women ended up playing 27 holes over the 2 days. The men ended up only playing 18 over the 2 days, so it was
Wow.
their combination. But they still were able to crown champions there.
And of course, the full results are up where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, they are up on the website there now. We'll throw it out there just real quick. Lise Jubenville won another A title, City and District A title, and OVGA Hall of Famer Leanne Stopper from Cobden took the B. Ryan Ladouceur of Carlton won the men's B, and then Sebastian Daguerre, who actually played quite well, ended up winning by 4. He was 5 under for 36 holes, and he wrapped that up at Rideau on Wednesday, where they were able to play 18 holes, so they at least were able to have a proper finish on the Wednesday. So congratulations to all the winners.
Perfect. And play junior golf tour, Belleville.
Oh yeah, sorry, the note that was in there, because the Belleville event got canceled because of the weather, and then we're just still waiting for the full results from Equinel this past week, and then they're headed to have the junior shootouts on Monday. I like that
by
name.
Ganshev, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So
I'd like to see that local support. Ganshev is a huge supporter of golf in that local area. I believe they're the big sponsor of the Senior Invitational that happened yesterday, I think.
Yeah, it did actually, and they also celebrated their 48th anniversary this past week. All their staff got together on Tuesday, so congratulations to the Hall family there.
It's funny. I used to work for the Gananoque Reporter in Gananoque when I first got my kick at the marketing and sales business. That was actually before I started working at Golfer's Choice with you and your partner back in the day. At the retail level, but spent a lot of time in Gan, and Gan Chevals was a big client.
And see Dewey
Hall, and I saw Jamie quite a bit, but I know Brady wasn't around then.
No, but Brady played in the tournament, and
he had a good day on the Sunday for sure.
He got rolling there for a while.
So anyway, okay. Moving on, the PGA of Ottawa held its championship, we'll call it, on the flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour. The Cleveland Srixon Golf Zone Championship took place at Cornwall.
It was on Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, it was the Monday, Tuesday. Just so much was packed in. I mean, unfortunately, we apologize to everybody that runs these tournaments, and I know our name is attached to a lot, and we just cannot be.
No.
As much as we want to, it's like, okay, whether you sponsor that, you want to be there, you want to be there, you want to be there. We can't be. There's two. There's you. There's me.
I literally had probably 15 tabs open yesterday on my computer, just tracking everything from the Southern Amateur, the AJGA, the Porter Cup. These are all places where Canadian golfers and golfers from the region are all playing. There's a future links, they call it. The Next Gen Championship was going on. There's a ton of things going on, and they all seem to happen at the same time. Quebec Amateur, you name it.
And that's the thing. Like, there's only, we're fortunate that with the PGA of Ottawa that we've got Joe, who used to, who's retired from Flagstick, but still, obviously Joe's still a friend of all of us, and Joe helps us out quite a bit, keeping things rolling as far as the coverage on his end of the flagstick.com Players Tour, which is very helpful because we know we get quality stuff from him, but we just can't be. I mean, when I take 3 days off to run a tournament, I need 3 days to run the business end of it when I get back. So it's not just so much the recovery. I mean, that's part of it, but I mean, there's still a business to run. I can't then be off spending 2 days covering another tournament and then flip out someone and be at another tournament. I mean, there's other parts of this business that have to happen. So
and the difficult part too is when you're at an event and covering an event, that also means that the 8 other things that you're trying to keep an eye on don't get any attention as well, and they all deserve attention. So just trying to keep track of the U.S. junior girls as well. There's a whack of them. I mean, this is all the different places that Canadian golfers and regional golfers are playing, and we try to keep people up to date on that. And if you just check out our X feed, you'll see lots going on there.
Okay, so Cornwall hosted Monday, Tuesday, and some familiar winner. Familiar winner in the senior with Graham Gunn winning his fifth in a row, his fifth title in a row. Graham can still compete at a very, very high level. So don't let the senior division thing trick you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. And a main winner, actually, Craig Stefarique, who, spent some time on a couple of different tours over in Europe and stuff, and was new to Ottawa just a couple of years ago, but plays out of Falcon Ridge, and he ended up winning in a playoff against Brett Cleggett Woods. They both finished regulation at 7 under par, and he sank about an 18 to 20 footer on the first playoff hole right there behind the patio, the par 3, and everybody got to see that. So nice win for him there. And the tour keeps on cooking; it does not stop.
Yeah. So Monday, coming Monday, at Mississippi Golf Club with the Assistants, Ladies, and Senior Zone Championship. So yes, there's a senior division at the Zone Championship, but the Senior Zone Championship is oddly a completely different event.
Yeah, I know. It sounds
weird because you're playing the senior division at the Zone Championship, but then there's a Senior Zone Championship. It's not actually the Zone Championship for seniors. It's just a division.
Yeah, and that one I think he's won 7 times. Graham has. So yeah.
So I'd say the favorite to win the Senior Zone Championship is Graham Gunn. So somebody is going to have to put up a number.
It's not going to be me. I'm not in the field, that's for sure.
No, well, that's too bad, Scott McLeod.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm on the shelf right now. So
Scott on the shelf. It's like Elf on the shelf. Scott on the shelf.
Yeah.
Scotty Mac on the shelf. Golf Ontario heads over to Brockville next week for the Ontario Senior Men's Amateur. It starts July 23rd. So that should be
great field. That should
be a nice,
fantastic field.
Yeah.
Former NHLer Adam Creighton is the defending champion there. If people are interested, he's obviously taken up the game with great amount of enthusiasm. And I was just having a look through the field the other day, and yeah, it's spectacular. So I'm hoping to drop in there on Wednesday, day 1. So
cool. All right, the 50th CPKC Women's Open is early next week in Calgary at Earl Grey. There are at least 14 Canadians in the field. And there's 6 spots left in the field with 2 exemptions and 4 Monday qualifier spots. So 14 Canadians in the field, which is fitting for the Canadian Women's Open, essentially the CPKC Women's Open. Brooke Henderson will be there, obviously. We know that.
Yeah, lots of great young talent there playing in the field. Some players that have spots in there. There are so many young players that are coming up. People have to realize, especially on the women's side, it's just a massive wave of quality players. We're seeing that right now. There's a Women's All Pro Tour event down in Texas where there's a bunch of players that are doing well down there as well, including Yeji Kwan, who won the Canadian Junior 2 years ago in Ottawa, who just got her first pro win a couple of weeks ago, and she's in the mix there again. So, I mean, there's tons of talent to follow there. It's just not the usual 1 or 2 players, and expect probably some cool stories to come out of there.
Let's hope so. Okay, PGA Tour Americas visits Ottawa next week.
Yep.
Claude Giroux is a sponsor's exemption again this year.
Yeah, haven't heard much else as far as the exemption. So I'm waiting for the full field to come out on Friday.
Kind of waiting for some details, period.
Really, unfortunately.
Not a lot of information popping out of the event. So be really curious to see what's going on, what other exemptions they have. I know they had a qualifier at Stittsville, which we talked about the last episode. And there'll be a Monday qualifier
at the Marshes
Monday.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Funny that.
And then the full field of it will be available on Friday, hopefully this week. Or sorry, not this week.
No.
Next
week. Tomorrow.
Yeah, the full field will be available less the Monday qualifier, obviously.
Yeah, the tour is in Bromont, Quebec this week, so I'm hoping to maybe pop in there on. I might trickle on past Brockville up to there on the. Well, no, actually, I'll probably do that on the Tuesday. So
what we need to do is, guys,
I don't know where I am.
Guys, start pushing some information out.
Yes,
tournament's a week away. The more we can talk about it, the better it is. But there's nothing to talk about. Anyway, before we get out and take a break, I just want to remind everybody, Flagstick Academy golf tips sponsored by Castleview Golf and Country Club, back again this week and every week until we're done with everything that we've recorded for you. So great tip this week: shift for success. Shift for success. It's a vague description, I know, but that's the whole point. You have to find out what kind of shifting you're supposed to do. Well, but the description is, if you move your weight here and you do this and you shift for success, you're going to have more success, because that would be too long of a description. Shift for success. Check it out on YouTube or on all our social media channels. Thanks again to all our viewers and subscribers of the Academy. Getting lots of interest over there. Clearly, everybody wants to improve their golf, and we're trying to do it in 2 minutes or less. So that's about it. All right. We got to take a break.
There's so much going on.
I know. It's just crazy. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we are going to talk Open Championship, because this got to be between it and the U.S. Open. I got to say the Open Championship is probably still my favorite major championship of the year. How fitting it is that it's the final major of the year. Like, that's the exciting part. It's the final major of the year. It's exciting. They're at Royal Troon, and we're going to talk about it when we get back. So you're listening to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Stick around. We got more to talk about.
Play a golf ball with a winning formula. Play speed with the supercharged Fast Layer DG Core. Play spin with groove-grabbing Spin Skin Plus. Play Z-Star, now with 3 Tour Performance models. Whether you're competing for the win or simply want the most from your game, find your winning formula with the all-new Z-Star series, only from Srixon.
All right, well, welcome back to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter, he's Scott McLeod, and we are excited to get to this back nine this week, presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. 27 holes of challenging golf, great rates. Falcon Ridge Golf Club is a golfing experience you cannot avoid, and the experience just got even better by building the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. That's practice, games, and virtual golf, all in one spot. To book tee times or to book one of the 10 TrackMan Range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca.
I was actually playing Royal Troon. I was playing the Postage Stamp the other day. God, it's fun.
I hate you.
I know.
No, I don't hate you.
Simulators are becoming a little bit more important with the wacky weather, especially in Toronto.
No question. Oh God,
you got the major floods.
See, I saw some photos,
which golf course?
Images of Glen Abbey. Oh my
Glen
God.
Abbey, yeah. That's.
I mean, I know there's other ones, but they focused in on that one a little bit, just watching how much the because
Grant
it's the valley, right?
Yeah,
because down the valley, some of those, and it's it's pretty insane. It's gonna be it's gonna be a while coming back from that.
Yeah, it's not bad. They've actually recovered pretty well. Credit Valley was another one. The crews are out there. There's lots of mud and debris that are all over the place. Mississauga, the same thing. Markland Wood, there's a ton of different. Anyone that had a river, which is a lot of golf courses. But anyways, best wishes to all of them dealing with that. So, do I have enough notes in here?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We're not going to get. We won't even remotely come close to talking about any of that stuff.
They are just there for reference if you need it.
Oh, you don't want me to read all of it?
No.
Okay.
No Anchorman on that one. Please.
Okay. I am not going to read exactly what's on the teleprompter.
Please don't.
Go, yourself, San Diego. Anyway, so Royal Troon, the Open Championship, the 152nd Open Championship being played at the Royal Troon, the old course at Royal Troon, which opened in 1878, just to give you a little piece of advice there. No golf course around here opened in 1878.
No, soon after, but not
1878.
No.
Now, I guess the first thing to talk about would be the monies. It's an open championship, so let's get into the monies a little bit. The purse is 17 million US for the field, not for the winner, from 16.5 million last year. So, another $0.5 million, not the end of the world, right? I mean, 16.5 to 17 mil. I guess, are they gradually trying to get the purses for major championships or some of these events a little more in line with what I shouldn't say more in line with what Liv is doing, because it's like they have these because of the there's PGA Tour has the elevated events, and
in fact they're going the other way. So, I mean, here's the thing for this situation. I mean, they chose to go up. I mean, traditionally, if you looked at the majors over the years, they were the ones that had the largest purses. And, obviously that escalated and the purses were escalating, as you mentioned, the signature events, live stuff, so forth. But in the press conference this week, Martin Slumbers from the R&A, who, is the head man there for now. And he's retiring, but, he basically made a statement talking about, the fact that they had boosted it, but they chose not to go crazy with it because they still had to balance all their responsibilities with all of golf. So, their responsibility for the R&A is not just to run the Open. It's to administer a lot of different other things and other rules and deal with lots of other golfers, run many other championships, and they can't unnecessarily be throwing money into this event in the fact that, it's already the Open Championship. A lot of players would just take the trophy because they're going to get all sorts of benefits from winning anyways. There's also all sorts of residual stuff. So they're basically just saying, hey, we've got other stuff we need to do. So we're not trying to escalate it over anything else. I saw one other outlet reported it's now the 23rd highest prize money in golf. It was probably in the top 4 just a few years ago, but it's just now with all these other events escalating or whatever. But the goal then is to realize the importance is the championship, not just the money.
And you know what? I agree with that. I agree with that philosophy, and I think that the same should hold true for other high level events. Whether it's the Masters, the US Open, or the PGA Championship, is that these are the majors. And they're the majors for a reason. And yes, traditionally the majors probably have had some of the higher purses on the PGA Tour, but that's changed with WGC events in the past. Those purses were higher. Now with the signature events that the PGA Tour is running to kind of battle against live a little bit, even though you really can't battle against the money that's pushed into live because it's in endless buckets of it. So they could just keep making it bigger and bigger. But when you take an event like the Open Championship and the age of the event, the significance of the history of that event, you can't put a price. And it's got to be reasonable. Obviously, if they start paying the winner $1, the guy's just going to stop playing because it does cost money. But as long as they stay in line with what's being paid for professional golf on the PGA Tour, on the DP World Tour, that I don't think that an event like the Open Championship needs to compete.
And I think, the Masters may be an exception here because it's sort of privately run, as we'll call it. But when you're dealing with the R&A, you're dealing with the USGA, and you're dealing with the PGA.
They're nonprofit organizations.
Those are associations that have other responsibilities. And while they're running these events, they've got other things that they have to deal with. So, it would be the same here in Canada. RBC Canadian Open, it's great, you can bump up the purse, but when do you get to the point where that starts to rake or starts to pull away from the money that could be going to other things that are happening for Golf Canada's program? So there's a social responsibility, there's a responsibility to the other I don't know, how will you call it, stakeholders, I guess.
Yeah. No,
The
that's
members,
exactly what you'd call it.
the members within the RNA, the members within the PGA, the members within, the USGA. So, I mean, they can't unnecessarily just keep escalating things. That money has to come from someplace. And if it comes out of the pocket of, millions of other members for the sake of 156 players, that is a concern.
Well,
so
this is
very
what we
interesting.
started. This is the conversation that we were having a little bit the last episode, I believe, where we were talking about particularly Golf Canada and associations and their role. And I think this is where things get lost a little bit. And I know we're going to talk about the Open Championship here, but just because we opened the box a little bit again,
sure.
This is what is inherently wrong with in Canada, at least, that we're the focus of organizations like Golf Canada and Hockey Canada and Soccer Canada and Tennis Canada is that we're focusing on the small percentage of those that might have a chance of becoming something professionally. And or we're focusing on that side of it, and we're forgetting about the fact that the grassroots is where we build from. And yes, there's elite programs for those elite players because you want to support those elite players. You do. You want to make sure that they're given, if they get to that level, they work themselves up and they get to that level, that we provide them as an association, whether it's whether it's hockey or golf, that we're providing them with coaching and stuff to help get them to the next level, because we had identified by a certain point that they are elite. But with some sports, we're not paying enough attention to putting the money down in the grassroots to help those grassroots players get to be elite. We're just saying, you're elite because you got yourself to elite. Now we're going to support you, but you're not supporting them when they're not elite.
Yeah, well, that said, I mean, some of these events also put money into those programs, so there is a balance that has to happen here. So it gets to the point where you're going, okay, how much has to go in there? How much is coming from that? And then you don't want to go over the top where you're getting the point. So yeah, it definitely becomes less just about the opportunities, but the funding that happens, because the profit that you're making at these events, if there is any, doesn't end up going into to supporting all the other programs. So it's definitely a balance that they all have to keep here. So anyways, that's the case as far as the RNA. They made that decision, and I think that's a wise choice for them. So yeah,
I like it. Noted that the last 10 winners of the Open Championship won the event for the first time, starting with Mickelson back in 2013. Currently, Brian Harman is the defending champion. And
playing well. I don't know. Did you see his play today?
He's not. I don't think he's outstanding today.
No, he's not outstanding, but he's pretty steady. Last time I looked, he had got back to even par.
But there's some odd scores. I mean, Rory was 5 over the last time I looked. Bryson just dropped an eagle to get to 5 over. So this is what happens. This is an Open Championship. It is a major, and it's very. I noticed Tiger just teed off, and it's pouring rain.
Yeah,
and the wind is coming up. So
I think one of the great things, it's hard to sit there and we're not going to try to do live reporting and stuff here, but I would just say what we've seen early on with the weather is kind of exactly what we were sort of hoping for.
Yes.
A little bit of rain, kind of 19 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour on one end of the golf course, kind of wind, enough to make it interesting. And obviously that's affecting the scoring. And that's sort of what you expect at Royal Troon.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we're seeing that, because it is going to definitely reward the player who, they're all skilled players, but it's going to reward the player that really adapts to those conditions this week.
Yeah. And when you take a 19 mile an hour wind on a golf course that is inland, like a parkland style golf course here in North America, and you take a 19 mile an hour wind, that wind is not, it might swirl a little bit. It might have some effect, especially once the ball gets up above the trees. But when you take a 19 mile an hour wind at a golf course like Troon or at St. Andrews or Carnoustie, where those golf courses are right on the sea, and you've got that wind coming off of the shoreline, that wind has there's no protection that wind. There's no trees protecting it from the players.
Right.
It's just
You
coming
get, you
in
get,
and it's
you
coming
get all
in
of
hard.
that. You get all of that
Yeah,
wind.
you get all of it and no break in it. And so that wind feels maybe even a little bit stronger, especially if it's right into you. Where you have to start your ball. If it happens to be a crosswind, you may have to adjust where your ball begins because it's going to move it a lot more. Just so many things that have to be considered when you're playing links golf. And by no means do I profess to be an expert at it. I only really did it once or twice when we were over in Scotland, as far as playing when we were at North Berwick, and when we were at Panmure, it was probably a little bit more true links than some of the other courses that we played when we were over there that were a little more inland. But I know how much it affected how I played. So I know how much it's affecting them. You can't talk about Troon without talking about the Postage Stamp, the 8th hole, shortest hole in the open on an open road, of course. Yeah, and he's just watching. They're showing technology is a beautiful thing. There's 4 bunkers that surround the Postage Stamp, and it's the Postage Stamp, but it looks far from a postage stamp. It's not square. It's very rectangular and long, narrow. There's no room left or right to miss your ball on the screen. Like some golf courses, there's no odd shapes or tongues coming out of it. It's just a round cornered rectangle that runs front to back. Tiny, big, huge hill to the left of it, and 4 bunkers that surround this green. And these very 4 bunkers
and steep sides.
Deep, and you need ladders to get down into them. These things are crazy. And they have cameras in all 4 of them.
Oh, yeah, which
is insane. Like you're watching, you see the guys are right down, because you can't, like, if they just a regular camera angle you're going to take of these guys, you're not going to see anything but the top of their head.
Catch the top of their heads. Yeah, exactly.
So now I recall, back in the day at Wooden Sticks, we did play the 11th hole at Wooden Sticks they're inspired by the Postage Stamp, and it's certainly not the Postage Stamp, but the bunkers on that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Those bunkers are deep. I do recall a video that was taken.
Yes.
It's probably still around somewhere. I'm sure Derek can find it. Of me battling said Postage Stamp green at Wooden Sticks. And I can just imagine the struggle that I went through with something that's half as deep.
Yeah.
So
what's neat is I actually just for a little bit of a test this week, like I said, I mentioned putting it up on TrackMan and trying it out, but I was doing a little work with Alex Sims, who was our first round leader at the Flagstick Open this year, and we just changed up the wind. So we got the wind up to about 36 miles an hour from left to right.
Oh, God.
He had to start this thing 40 yards left of the green to even have a hope of staying on. And it's such a tiny target that it just became hilarious. So you can imagine, and we tried it at 10, 15, 20, and even at 20. So, what they're dealing with today, it was a difficult test. It's just a small target from a dispersion standpoint. So, you can't just aim to the left side of the green. You got to basically aim at one of those bunkers or even left of that into some unknown area and hope that the wind hits it as you predict it's going to. And you miss that green, then you end up in all sorts of situations. I mean, it was great to see already players having to play away from holes. Justin Thomas, although he played well this morning, he had one of the par 3s where he got down left of a bunker and he could not play at the hole. He had to play kind of 20 feet to the right of it, and then it was great because he did that, and the spectators were clapping like he'd made a birdie, even though he went on to make a 4, just because they recognized that was the brilliant play that he had to make, and that he didn't make a foolish play. So
well, and as with any golf course we think that experience matters. If you've had multiple times, I mean, even a lot of these players, the more like guys like Mickelson or McIlroy or DJ, Tiger, they've played Troon in that road a number of times. But the Open Championship courses, they go in a rotation, right? So it's like once every
5 years,
6 years that you get to play it. So you would have to be on the tour for 10 years to get a second shot at Royal Troon. Well, that's not the case for a lot of these guys. So when are they getting that opportunity to get the experience playing Royal Troon if you're not Tiger Woods and you've had the opportunity to play it, 8 or 9 times?
Right.
They're not going over numerous times throughout the year to play practice rounds there, because that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of effort to just go over to Europe or over to Scotland and play Royal Troon for
just for a practice
for a
session.
practice round. Like, I mean,
and I think it does pay off in the fact that they're able to see the golf course in different winds. That's the big thing. I mean, they saw the golf course this week early on was very dormant, and all of a sudden they go to play the first round and they have a totally different wind. So where you start to get comfortable, the notes that you start to make, everything kind of gets spun on its head. And despite there's no guarantee that just because you played this golf course before that you're going to play well this time, but if you've got one or two notes in your book from previous that you recognize that here's a situation of this happens and this happens. Like I saw some yardage books from number 8. There's certain spots where you can land the ball where it'll funnel off or kick forward or whatever the case. And if you haven't had the experience in particular winds of that situation, you're not going to see that or recognize it. And there is a definite randomness here, but there is some predictability as well.
And here's something to note, that there's since the last time it was held at Royal Troon, there's only 5 players that finished inside the so the last time it was held there, Stenson won.
Yep.
Mickelson was second.
Right.
Tyrrell Hatton was 5th. McIlroy was tied for 5th, and DJ was tied for 9th.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I mean,
there's only 40. There's only 40 players in the field that were there. So that's about a third of the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, or fourth, really, a quarter 157 in the field. So, there's a number of players that have played there, going back. But, once you get to a certain point, I mean, the experience of, a Darren Clark way back when. Well, Darren Clark's usually not really in the mix at this point anyway. So, but you're right. I mean, a lot of these players are getting early looks at this golf course and have never seen it in multiple conditions. Maybe they played the Scottish last week. There were some players. Now, I will say Scotty Scheffler didn't play the Scottish Open, and he decided to get over there and get acclimated to the golf course and play a few extra practice rounds. And I think that's a wise thing.
I think that's so smart. I think that's so, when you think about that, I know guys play, like you look at McIntyre right now, won the Scottish Open last week, not having a good day. I don't think that necessarily, I'm not a PGA Tour guy and I'm no analyst, and my name's not Brandel Chambly, so I don't know everything. But
nor does he.
But when I think about preparing yourself there's a number of ways you can do that. And I think one of the ways that is really smart is to try to get over to the golf course that you're going to be participating on a couple of days early. And even if you're not walking it, you're playing a few holes, you're practicing on the grounds. I would rather get myself acclimatized to the food and the weather and the sleep by being on property at the golf course I'm going to participate at than playing a 4-round tournament at a golf course is a lot different and in a different area than the one I'm playing. Like I don't know. I mean, that's just me.
I think it's that hope that, I think it's that hope if you go early enough, that you'll see multiple different winds. You'll see how it plays when it starts to rain, what's going to happen as the greens slow down or speed up. What are the different, kind of bounces, what areas on the golf course are dried out more than others, what has been grown in certain areas over others that you want to avoid, dispersions off the tee. What do you want to hit? That first hole is a great example. I mean, it's a short par 4.
Yeah,
but you see a variety
or something.
Yeah, and you see a variety of players, some are kind of taking on the bunkers a little bit. Others are being a lot more conservative, leaving themselves further back. But again, that gets thrown out the window when all of a sudden there's 20 miles an hour in your face, and that changes your game plan right away. So unless 100%. You've had the experience there, you know how to adjust. I mean, just think about your own home golf course, and anybody that's listening to this, think about your home golf course and the different conditions that you played your course in. There's a one hole maybe on your golf course that you absolutely hate when it's playing into a headwind. That is perfectly fine and you're comfortable with it when it's downwind. So same thing happens here. So the more times that you've been on that golf course, and I think the more experience you have, it may be fractional, but it's still something to give you some advantage over other players in the field who don't have that experience.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
What are you
Agree with
thinking
that.
for players? I mean, obviously we see the scoreboard already. We kind of know where things at. We don't want to get into predictions and stuff here. I mean, it's just too hard to do. I mean, if we'd done this before we started, we would have been throwing out Bryson and Robert McIntyre and whatever. But obviously, that's not happening in the first round.
No.
But we also don't know what's going to happen overall with the scoring. I mean, it may go sideways and the cut may be a million over par. Other players may throw in great rounds tomorrow. I mean, that's the volatility that we have at the Open. But is there anybody that you're just paying attention to, not necessarily for winning, but you're curious about how they're going to play this week?
I am very curious to see how Scheffler plays this week. Now, I guess that's the obvious choice.
Sure.
I don't choose him to win, though. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if I just don't think that Scheffler's game is suited for an Open Championship on this style of golf course. I don't know. I don't have any evidence, I guess, to back up that kind of theory where I can say, oh, he's not a good wind player, or he doesn't flight the ball very well. I don't know what it is. I just don't think that his game is suited to a ground game.
I think it's interesting on some of that stuff, because I heard on the broadcast they were talking, and it's not reflective in his scoring. That's obviously one thing or the other, but they were talking about, they weren't sure of Bryson Chanson because he was a high ball hitter, and it was 2 seconds after they showed a shot apexing at 38 feet off the tee. So it's like, these are skilled players.
They figure it out. They really do figure it out. I'm not surprised if DeChambeau has a little bit of struggles, because he has sort of that hit and hope mentality. And now I'm not saying that that's how he plays. So I'm not saying that he is a hit and hope, but he bombs it and he goes after it, and he hits it so far down, and then figures that I'm going to have an easier time hitting a wedge out of the rough than I am hitting the 7-iron. So, and in some respects, that's right. I mean, you could take a wedge and hack it out, and from 100 yards away from a green, that's a lot easier to do than if you're 140 yards away from a green in the same fescue. So the mentality, I don't know if it's going to translate as well here, because there's a lot of bunkers, and if you're in the bunkers, you can take them out of play by hitting over them, but you can also bring them into play by just bombing the ball around the golf course. So if this were St. Andrews, I would say that philosophy might have a little bit more of a, John Daly used that philosophy when he won the Open Championship.
Yeah, it's a way different test of golf.
John Daly was 11 over today, and probably spent a lot of time in the grass and the weeds of the bunker. So I think that's kind of the Bryson mentality, and I don't know that he has that mental ability to just dial it back to nothing and play for position. I don't think that's in his DNA. So I don't know if Bryson would be my favorite. Schauffele I like. Tiger I like, though I just really don't think he's got much of a shot. I just don't think it's cold and it's ugly, and Tiger's body just, like, I know what I'm like. If it's cold and ugly, I'm not enjoying my round of golf. If it's warm and humid, I'm having a lot. I mean, I played 2 nights ago. It was super hot and super humid, and I probably drove the ball 20 yards further than I normally do. I was probably hitting drives 270, 280 yards, and I haven't done that all year because it's been a little chillier when I play, and I just don't have the self lubrication of my joints to get the club head speed. So I know what Tiger's probably kind of going through when the body's just not liking that kind of cold, damp, ugly weather. Then you don't swing freely, and the more clothes you put on to stay warm, the worse it gets.
Yeah, and obviously, in his appearances in the majors so far have been quite successful as well. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect there from him. If he makes the cut, I think that's a big thing there. I'm interested to see, even how Jordan Spieth even performs.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much there. Justin Thomas, I know he started out well. I got a good feeling about him.
He's looking great.
I really do. And I want to note something with respect to Tiger and the Open Championship. There was a lot of stuff in the news lately about what Colin Montgomery said.
That was just a comment.
I mean, Billy Casper was playing in the Masters until he was probably 104 before they changed the rule as far as how long you could play, as like not just ceremonial starts. These older guys that won the Masters before were still playing it. If they're given the opportunity to play, they're probably going to play, especially if it's Augusta National. But if you're exempt and you're Tiger Woods and you still feel like you might have you got something to give, then why can't you play? Who gives a crap whether you're not showing well, you're not making cuts? You earn the exemptions.
Yeah.
Until you feel like you can't compete. Like you literally, at some point or another, Tiger Woods is going to realize that he can't compete. And when he doesn't think he can compete anymore, he'll stop. And that's really the bottom line. It's like a hockey player is the same way. You see these hockey players playing until they're 40, into their 45 years old. Chris Chelios played forever because he felt like he could still compete. And when he no longer felt like he could compete and play at the highest level, then he stopped. And athletes are like that. Most of them know when it's time to stop.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing of that was sort of got missed, because obviously it was clipped out or whatever, was Montgomery basically just said, it didn't seem like at Pinehurst Tiger enjoyed himself for a single shot. That was part of it. He said, what the hell is he doing? So, I mean, he said he's come to Troon. He probably won't enjoy it there either. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just the clip that came out on social media.
I'm aware of that, but still.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. And if Tiger wants to clap back on that, and he did it jokingly as well.
Yes,
again, the clips don't really show the context and stuff like that or whatever. So I would just here's the thing though, if I'm the commentary from Colin, I'd like to see Tiger enjoying himself a little bit more as well, and I'm sure Tiger would like to enjoy himself a little bit more as well. So it's interesting. So but yeah, it was a funny
it was kind of a funny back and forth, and I don't think that there was
I don't think it was malicious.
So. I don't think so either, but I think Montgomery was trying to make a point and then probably realized after he made the point that the point was probably didn't need to be made.
No, for sure. And I think one of the points that Colin was making a little bit as well is just how good the golfers are out there right now. Like he said, one of his quotes that was in there was, you can't play once a month and hope to contend with these guys now. And it's, in a lot of cases it's true, but that doesn't mean necessarily the players should pack it in if they, as you said, if they feel like they can do it. But it is a tough go for if you're not in the if you're not in the groove and you're not playing all the time and you're not, sharp, your expectations definitely have to be tempered.
Yeah, they definitely do. Although I will say that there's another golfer from back in the day that basically just threw the clubs on the plane, flew to a tournament, played the tournament, went home, put the clubs in the garage, and went fishing. And I think you know what player I'm talking about.
Sure, Bruce Litsky.
And he was an exceptional golfer for a very long time, and won a fair bit. Albeit I don't think Litsky ever won a major, did he?
He did not.
But then he didn't care. And I think that was the point. Boo Weekley was a very similar to that too. Boo was a decent golfer, played really well, had some success on the tour, but was really kind of just like doing it to make some money. It's kind of like the Happy Gilmore, freaking just doing it to make money to pay for grandma's house. And then when that was done, he didn't really care anymore, though I think he's playing on the Champions Tour from time to time. So
he is, yeah.
So maybe needs more money for another tractor. Who knows?
Maybe.
Everybody's different. That's just the way it is. Who else do we like? You know what? I like Ricky Fowler, but I just don't think. I think Ricky's kind of like, I think he's kind of. I'm not saying past his prime, but I just don't think the Ricky. I don't think.
Are you giving him the Colin treatment?
I just don't think that the Ricky Fowler that we once paid attention to on the tour and was young and flamboyant with the orange and. Like, I just don't know that guy's around anymore.
It's hard to say. I mean, he had success. He won a Scottish Open, so he's had some success over there. But yeah, you're right. I just don't know where the state of his game is at this point relative to, again, you're competing against some of the best players in the world. And, these guys are sharper and sharper all the time. And, guys are getting pushed and it's really easy to get comfortable. That's for sure. So, are you still pushing yourself to kind of chase those slivers that are going to make you better? That's hard to say once players get along, especially with the way the money is and stuff right now. Not saying players don't want to win, but it's just you're wondering how much time are they putting in to make those extra bits of differences, especially when they're taking on, a test like this week.
Now, the interesting thing will be, and I kind of, in my mind, I kind of got this thought that it's going to be somebody that we don't expect, as it has been for the last number of years, somebody who's never won before. That's, you don't have to hit the ball a mile to have success out there. You have to play the golf course that's in front of you very well, and you have to get some lucky breaks, and you have to stay out of bunkers. And I don't know. I almost think that it's going to be somebody from overseas. I think it's going to be more of a DP, like a DP World Tour player that's not playing on the PGA Tour. That, like, even Ludwig Oberg. I like that guy
today. Yeah, he's this is his first Open Championship. Birdied the first hole, ended up +4, but he's definitely can still. I wouldn't count him out. That's for sure.
And I do like Patrick Cantley too, is another one that I like as an American player that just he controls his ball flight, and his ball striking is very, very pure.
Yeah. So a guy I'd look at that has been playing quite well that could fit that mold is Mathieu Pebon from France.
Yes.
Who, won over, but he's been playing very well of late. I think he could be a sneaky guy that could do something.
He was in contention at the US Open.
Yeah, he was in contention at the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
He was, he's been playing quite well.
Yeah. So I think
I wouldn't
be
shocked by that one.
I feel like that's where this is going to go. I don't think this is going to be a Scheffler,
brand namer.
Morikawa, McIlroy. I think this is going to be a non-brand name kind of player. Now, not to say that the guys we mentioned are not brand name, but the ones we're not normally talking about, that we don't see all the time, that we maybe only see in majors. Yeah, I feel like that's where this is going to come from. So we'll see how it plays out.
Interesting.
Lots of storylines going on, and it's only round one, and those that are playing this afternoon are probably getting the brunt of the crappy weather, and the numbers are probably going to be a little bit higher. And then those guys are going to get the calmer conditions likely tomorrow morning, a little bit more benign, less wind, less rain, and they're probably going to put up some better numbers than the same group that went out this morning and put up decent numbers. So that's the beauty of the Open Championship, is that you get what you get when you get to the tee and you figure it out. And the ones that figure it out the best are the ones that are in contention on the weekend. And the ones that don't ever figure it out are the ones that are getting on a plane and going home.
You got it.
All right. We'll leave it there. Sounds good. I love it. So enjoy the Open Championship, everybody. I know it's early, but you love it. Go to bed a little earlier at night, or don't go to bed at all. Pull a 4-day marathon if you want, and then call in sick on Monday.
I was exchanging a lot of messages with a lot of people on Twitter at 4 a.m. this morning. So
beautiful.
Pretty funny.
Love to hear
stuff.
All right. Thank you. Thanks to our sponsors again this week. Without them, we got no show. Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, Srixon Golf Balls. Whether you're looking for a premium urethane option in the Z-Star series, or quality budget option in the soft feel, or somewhere in between with the Q-Star, Srixon Golf is bound to present an option that will work for your game. For more information, visit srixon.ca. Well, we certainly do hope you're enjoying what you're hearing and watching here on the podcast. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you don't miss anything we put up there, because it's all good. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day, and subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter. Have that thing drop to your inbox 3 times a week, so all this content just funnels right to you. You don't even have to put any effort into it. We'll do it for you. But as always, we do appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.